early in 1944 that I would join the Air Corps, or as our president said, the Air Corps. And I about passed out when I heard him say Air Corps.
Which president was that?
3 times.
FDR, right?
FDR said it?
Oh, Obama.
Oh, Obama. He should know better than that.
No, Air Corps. Well, yes, the head of the commander-in-chief.
Yeah, he should know better than that.
He said it in this TV report. He said it 3 times, the Air Corps, and never. I don't recall anyone challenging him on it. Anyhow, I joined the Air Corps.
I'm glad you're getting with the pronunciation finally.
And I was sent to Spokane, Washington for basic training. And all nurses were recruited by the Red Cross. Because nurses, there was no drafting of nurses, that sort of thing. Nor drafting of women, anyhow, in World War II.
So it was all volunteer?
Yes, yes. Took me 2 days to get in because I was underweight and my pulse was too fast.
And you were living in Minnesota at the time?
Yes.
And so you applied there?
Yes.
Okay.
At Fort Snelling.
And they, sent you to Spokane by train?
Pardon?
They sent you to Spokane by train?
Yeah, by the Great Northern.
Okay.
Yes. And I love to ride on trains. Anyhow, I went from St. Paul to Spokane, Washington. And it's 3 months training, like marching and gas mask and all that sort of thing. And we had a sergeant who was, I think he had a lot of fun making the nurses, goose step and all that sort of thing.
What would be the point of all that?
Oh, wow.
Get people to do things
freak.
just because you can.
They're in charge. Those
Yeah.
sergeants are in charge.
They don't care who they order around.
Still, you think about productivity. It's like you don't need to march, you need to know how to deal with a MASH unit, right?
So Spokane seems like an odd place, Aunt Mary.
Pardon me?
Spokane seems like an odd place.
No, Fort George Wright was a rehab and training center for part of western California.
Washington.
United States.
Oh.
Rehab for mostly soldiers from the South Pacific. So there were soldiers there from the South Pacific.
Oh.
So did you actually, it sounded like you had military training, and then were you working with these soldiers as well?
But the patients, yes, you had regular duty.
Oh.
But then you had exercises also, like 5 miles hikes and night and up and down the hills of Spokane.
Were they actually trying to get you physically prepared?
Yeah, I don't know why, because we never physically had to. Well, it was just part of the whole routine. That's understandable, and it was good. And so I was there for 3 months in training, and then I was sent to Santa Ana Air Base in Santa Ana, California, one of the larger air bases, and it no longer exists. But I was there for 3 months, and we took care of patients from the South Pacific. And then I was sent to Victorville Air Base in Victorville, California. And because the Air Corps was a part of the regular Army at that time.
It wasn't a distinctive
It
division.
wasn't independent
Right,
like it is now.
right.
It's the Air Force now,
Right.
but it was the Air Corps then. And they needed nurses in Europe, so they sent some of us to Camp Bowie, Texas, which was a training center for overseas involvement.
Now, did you find that you had to have special training or orientation or having to learn new techniques to take care of these soldiers?
No, it was just your basic nursing knowledge and of course, any war brings on problems that you ordinarily don't have. Yeah. So you were just guided by what the doctors and all did.
Well, because a lot of medical technology comes out of war
Oh, for sure.
because they have to learn these new techniques and ways.
For instance, the United States probably was 50 years, they advanced 50 years after World War II in medical practices. Yes. So,
What I heard was, for the Boston bombings, if it hadn't been for all the poor soldiers that had been blown up in Afghanistan, they would never have known how to do all the prosthetic devices for those poor people who got hurt in the bombs.
well,
You know.
sure.
So, the war, although it's
Those-
horrible, does come with good results.
It
in some
advances medicine
Yeah.
unbelievably,
Yeah.
really.
ways, unfortunately.
So I interrupted you. You're now in Texas.
Camp Bowie, Texas, you know.
Getting ready to go. Now they determined that they needed you more in Europe than in the South Pacific, huh?
Yes. So, we were trained to work with an evacuation hospital. An evacuation hospital follows the troops in war. You're not far behind them, so you may be just a few miles from the
So-
battlefield.
What did they teach you in that sort of approach, which might be different than?
Survival mostly.
You'd have to be able to react very quickly, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
get up and move, right, with the troops.
Yeah.
So, were you all like in barracks, like the soldiers?
Oh yes, of course.
I imagine you made some really good friends.
Oh yes. In fact, I had one friend left
My chair?
uh, with whom I worked all those years. She lives in Nebraska,
Thank you.
and a little over a year ago, she called me and she said, "Mary, I want to see you one more time." And I said, "Okay." She said, "I'm going to have my daughter drive me out to California to see you." So I said, "Okay." But see, how long are you going to stay? She said, "I never stay anywhere very long." That was